Hey folks, welcome to where are we? Wednesday, the 20th of April 2022. And really good upside seen yesterday across the equities markets. Really J&J earnings coming out, and really positive earnings there and an increase on the dividends. So you know that really because it is such a big component of these equities markets, you did see pretty much all three of the indices have a fantastic update. Outperformance seen in the SPOs really across the three equities that we can trade here from the US. So, just looking at the markets this morning, coming back, checking back from those highs that we saw yesterday. Um, a little bit of a gap down, and the VIX then taking a big spike gap up in the Globex reopen. So, getting across onto these charts, we can have a look here and see what's happening. So, on the Nasdaq, you can see you just had that lovely test here yesterday on the open on the trend, and then bid up just shy of what was the 100 EMA, or sorry, 20 EMA just above here. But nice activity. The gap down is highlighted here in yellow. And so, I think we are going to continue going up here, hit into that 14,300 marker on the NASDAQ, and potentially into the 14,370s, 50 EMA above. So, really nice activity here on equities yesterday. So, I think for today, it's further upside. The markets really did lap up that renewed, confidence from positive earnings. It wasn't all good. Of course, Netflix down 25% on the close, and I think it's down about a continued 17% on the pre-market at the moment. Of course, missing subscribers, so they did plan to add 2.5 million, but due to the Russian situation and they're cutting services in Russia, they said that they lost 200,000 instead of making that 2.5 million number. So, that's going to be a bit of a weight to the equities somewhat today, but I still think the buyers and the bulls have turned up again here. So Foods right now quite heavy underneath the gap open low, 44.44. Spot 75 is that gap open low on Globex. And the Dow here just run into this line in the sand area. I think we can push on, looking at, say, the Dow on a daily continuation chart, may suffer a pullback onto the 34,573s, but I think we're only going to be finding buyers down around here to then drive on up. We have kind of come out of a range that we've been in pretty much in kind of this area below here, um, highlight. Let's highlight that in green, for example. So there is somewhat like of a bust out and a range expansion now. So pulling back into this area down low should bring in the buyers to push us higher. I think the situation in Russia is actually deteriorating with second wave of attacks now. A second wave of an assault, if you like, on the way for this market. So, you know, I'm not discounting that could pull equities back down, but that's a headline risk, so we'll leave it at that for now. Booze, while we have had a decent update, target on the upside was the 100 EMA 44.56 as well. That's been done. You've had the gap down. I think it's just a matter of time before that VIX continues to have another pullback, and then we can push back up and see if the buyers want to lift then through this gap and drive 44.76s and above. So I think that's probably the target for today. And the upside 44.76, and then on the pullback for the buyers, I'd say 44.10 quarters, and that is the high, of course, just seen here, from the high of the 3rd of March this year. So, not much really to add to the analysis done on Monday either, I suppose. And the dollar has a little bit to drop to find buyers at the 100 spot 38. I think once we do that, I think then you're going to get into a long dollar short pair situation. So, where is that going to be for the euro? Is that going to be one spot 08630s or 08775s? Who knows? Cable as well. I think once that dollar finds a footing back on the 100 marker, then we can you'll finish this pullback in the on cable, and then you should aim for much lower prices on cable over the coming sessions after we find this dollar support. Gold, yeah, the yields yesterday, a lot of appreciation in the yields. Bonds, you can see the Bund down here, bottom right of your screen. The Bund took a hammering yesterday. Generally, the supports are 152.65, which will be a new low on the week. And Tino's was no stranger to that downside yesterday on the bond complex. You see it's retracing quite a bit of that now. But I think it's got headwinds at 119, 14 and a half, just above the R1 here. So, yeah, sure, we can kind of lift generally from this area in gold with the bonds being buoyant, but then I think, that upside on gold will be limited. And I think there is further downside to be had on bonds once we kind of retest sort of the scenes of the crime from yesterday, currently at the moment, oil actually had a pretty bad day yesterday. Nothing really technically being pinned to this. One thing that was apparent earlier in the week on Monday was the Libyan offlining of about 525 or 524,000 barrels a day. They may have brought that back online to overnight. I haven't heard that yet, but I don't think that's really to blame for the downside. If anything, it would have been an upside catalyst. So but look, a little bit of unwinding here. Generally, we are on the pattern down on oil. This is daily chart here on the main screen. You can see. So it's very hard to really pick oil at the moment. I can't remember a time when the macro picture was so complex in reading oil. So, you just take it technically where you can. So, technically yesterday we pulled back to this low from the 9th of March this year. So 101.61's marking that low on the day and through into the close and reopen on Globex. We've managed to just hold about $2, dollar and a half above there. So can we find this as the bottom for the week in oil and then start to drive back up? Yeah, it's certainly looking like we want to retrace some of yesterday's downside, and if we are to be putting in the turn here for further upside, it's not hard to see that 101.61 could be that point, and then we put in another higher leg on this. But a lot of headwinds at the 108 spot, 28th line in the sand. This goes way back here, way back in time. And I think I covered that on Monday. So I think we're talking 2010, 2015 levels there. So, I think this just really hard for oil to survive above the 108s at the moment. But a reassault on this level, I think we will push above. I think we will push above. So, yeah, I mean, that's really it for me for today. In terms of data, coming up on the slate today, we have Eurozone industrial production coming out in 21 minutes. Not expecting a huge amount of activity on that. And then later on today, 3 o'clock, existing home sales, tier 1 data out of the US. And then obviously crude oil at 3:30. Okay. Any questions or queries, feel free to send me an email or reach out to me in Discord, and have a good session. All right. Take care. Bye bye.